Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova. In his final moments with the Jewish people, Moses sings. And I was rewinding back a few decades and hearing the lyrics to a song by Elton John called Sad Songs Say So Much. I don't know if that was on anyone else's playlist from a good while ago. And some of the words in it are along these lines. Guess there are times when we all need to share a little pain. Ironing out the rough spots is the hardest part when memories remain. It's times like these when we all need to hear the radio, because from the lips of some old singer, we can share the troubles that we already know. Turn on those sad songs. When all hope is gone, feel their gentle touch. When all hope is gone, sad songs say so much. Found a little teaching by a Melamed, a lovely teacher named Menachem Feldman, and the title of it is Why Sing Sad Songs? So that got me thinking to Elton. If you're a person who likes good old MTV, wow, was Elton Young in that video. It's terrific. It's a great little video. Everything's in black and white except for a few splashes of color, like giving a little hope. Moses begins his song with, "Listen, heavens, and I shall speak, and let the earth hear the words of my mouth." He really says, give ear. Ha'azinu comes from the word ozen, meaning ear. And it's the song Moses recites on the day of his passing. It's poetic, powerful, and poignant. After a few introductory verses, we have a description of God's kindness. It's a marvelous image. God found the people of Israel, Jacob, in a desert land, in a desolate, howling wasteland. Stuff of nightmares, but it's wonderful language. He encompassed them and bestowed understanding upon them. He protected them as the pupil of his eye. As an eagle awakens its nest, hovering over its fledglings, it spreads its wings, taking them and carrying them on its pinions. Song continues with the prediction that the Jews would eventually turn away from God. Israel became fat and kicked. You forgot God who made you. You began to serve idols that were new. Your fathers never imagined them. I will hide my face from them. I will see what will be their end, for they are a generation of change. They are not recognizable as my children whom I have reared. Some wonderful verses in here. Don't all of us, maybe somewhere secretly inside, kind of envy Moses' ability to tell it the way he sees it? I particularly love in verse 6 when he says, "Children unworthy of God, that crooked, perverse generation, do you thus repay the Lord, O dull and witless people?" Wow, talk about letting it all hang out at the end. I guess Moses figures at that point, what else could go wrong? But what follows also is a sad story, as sad as any in Jewish history, and we know this, that evils fell upon the Jewish people. God says, "I'll use up my arrows on them, sprouting hair from famine, attacked by demons, inciting the teeth of livestock upon them with the venom of creatures that slither in the dust. From outside the sword will bereave and terror from within, young men and maidens suckling babes with venerable elders." It's frightening language. It may certainly have been written in another time and place and interposed here into our Torah. But the song closes on a positive note. You may have noticed. We don't like to sit in a place of doom. Ultimately, the nations will cause God's nation to rejoice, for God will avenge the blood of his servants, and he will atone his land and his nation. Now, we hear this song once a year, but what I discovered this week was actually the song was sung quite often back in the Holy Temple. Every day when the priests would offer the daily offerings, they would, of course, as we know, offer psalms from traditionally King David's book of Psalms. All of those songs that they sung on a daily basis tended to be very joyous and were meant to imbue the service with a spirit of joy in fulfillment of the commandment to serve the Lord with joy. But there was also an other song that the Levites sang every Shabbat, or at least a piece of it. As the Kohanim offered the Musaf offering, the additional offering for Shabbat, they sang this song. But they didn't sing the whole thing every week. They sang one section per week, completing the song every 6 weeks. Parts of this song are really hard to hear, and taken out of context on their own, that would have been really difficult to hear on a regular basis. Now, the sections sung on week 1, 2, and 6 are quite inspiring, but what about these sad songs on the weeks in between? The portions that foretell the tragedies that would and sadly have befallen the Jewish people. How could a person feel uplifted when the Levites were singing, "I will cause them to be forgotten, their remembrance will be destroyed from mankind"? Well, it takes a little bit of an adjustment of the psyche to actually hear, whether they meant it or not, that when the Levites were singing the really difficult, bitter parts of the song, maybe they were teaching their audience how to overcome the tragic parts of our lives. Maybe the Levites were teaching us, again, consciously or not, to be patient as we allow the song to unfold. Friends, you all know we don't wake up each and every day of our lives hearing a joyous song playing in our ears. Sometimes we need Elton's sad songs. There are days when we hear no song, when maybe all we can hear is a lamentation. But the message of the Levites choosing a piece every week might have been that each stanza is part of a larger song, which can be heard only in full if we come back next week for more. Ultimately, we'll persist and we will find the joy. We can then, please God, realize that the difficult part of the road is just that, a road to a deeper and we pray more meaningful joy. We may not see it all come to fruition, but we keep planting, we keep tending, we keep singing, we keep putting brick onto half brick onto brick, building a wall of joyful experience, something we can bequeath to our children. May it be a shady, beautiful tree, a garden, a grove, an orchard, a forest of shade and light and the interplay of both, something that we can leave for the next generation that says, yes, we were here, yes, it was tough at times, but we never gave up. We kept going, we kept waiting to hear the next stanza of the song because we knew, we had to know that better things were coming. Ha'azinu is always read in this month of the holidays. It's the month that contains the Yamim Noraim, the days of awe, as well as the days of unbridled joy, Sukkot and Simchat Torah. In the beginning of this month, we do face the pain created by our weakness and our failings. We think about the transgressions and mistakes of the past year, about the pain of separation from God and from people we sinned against. But in these days of awe, coming with Yom Kippur, we learn to overcome the pain. We return, we reconnect, we work through the difficulty of Yom Kippur, and then ride the wave to the break the fast. Then we can realize our relationship with the divine and with one another is deeper and stronger than we could have ever imagined. We know that our bond with one another, with this tradition, and with whatever sense of the divine presence we have, that is an unbreakable bond. No matter how much pain we caused or experienced, no matter how far we, like the prophet Jonah, try to run away, the divine spirit, the eternal presence, is waiting for us to return on this Shabbat Shuvah, waiting to accept and embrace us. But we also know that the joy of Sukkot and Simchat Torah is really possible only if we experience these days of awe. All parts of the journey, all parts of the song are integral to the joy. They are all part of the same song. No matter what life brings us, please remember, we're just in the middle of the song. If we keep singing, playing the notes, please God, may we discover the music. Let us discover that there was music there all along. Shabbat Shalom.